welcome to HRD TV. My name's Jess Bell and I'm the news editor for HRD Australia. Today I'm joined by Stephen Moore, Managing Director, Asia, Pacific and Japan at Ceridian. Ceridian was recently named an HR 5-star award winner by HRD. Voted for by industry professionals, Ceridian was honoured for its price, efficiency and its excellent customer service. Thanks for joining me, Stephen, and congratulations on the award.
Thank you, Jess. Pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for the award.
Earlier this year, Ceridian announced the acquisition of Ascender, a leading payroll and HR solutions provider in Asia, Pacific and Japan. So first of all, Stephen, if you could tell us a little bit about Ceridian and what the acquisition of Ascender means.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. So Ceridian is the leading provider of human capital management solutions globally. We have a unique value proposition whereby our customers enjoy end-to-end functional deployment from onboarding right the way through to payroll in a single database, real time, fully mobile, and fully in line with contemporary industry requirements. The reason why we acquired Ascender and the reason why we acquired Ceridian, another payroll provider in Asia 6 months earlier, is because we see the tremendous growth opportunity in the APJ region. And we looked at both Ascender and Ceridian as fast track vehicles to achieve our potential in the region. Ascender brings great reach in the region from Japan and China in the east through to Australia in the south, as Ceridian does from India in the west and again right the way through to China in the east. They provide great customer logos for Ceridian and great talent. So not only did we acquire the organisations, we acquired nearly 2,000 staff and 1,500 customers across all industries. So we're really excited about having Ascender, Ceridian, and before that, Rytech, now as part of the Ceridian stable.
Wow, that is a huge expansion. That must be really exciting.
It is exciting, but it's exciting for our customers, Jess, because it's one thing acquiring a company, but it's quite another thing having a value proposition for the customers to take them on a journey. So over time, we will convert Ascender customers to being Ceridian customers. We'll convert Ceridian customers to being Ceridian customers. And the way that we'll do that is we'll offer them that promise of an end-to-end human capital management experience like no other. And so far, the encouragement and of the potential in that shift from our customer base, from our acquired customer base, is very strong. So we're really looking forward to the next 2 to 3 years of this journey.
And what are some of the trends you're seeing in the talent acquisition space?
I think that this applies to all industries, but there has never been a more challenging time in the industrial age and post-industrial age for talent acquisition. As you said, we're operating in a different mode. As individuals, we're operating largely virtually. We have to learn to collaborate virtually, and yet we still need to be connected, and we need to draw from our organisations those values that are important to us as individuals, but are also important to the organisation collectively, which essentially makes up the culture of the organisation. So how do you, in a virtual world, ensure that you're attracting the right talent and that you're retaining talent and that you're harmonising your employees to the purpose that your organisation needs them to be harmonised to? And the first step in that, which is really, really simple, is be attractive. Be an attractive employer. You might say, well, that's pretty obvious. How do you be attractive? Well, you have to offer your staff the employee experience that they're seeking. And one of the means that you can do that via is the human capital management solution that you deploy as an employer. So employees want to be recognised for who they are. They want to be individually recognised, whether that's on the basis of diversity or gender or potential or age, religion. They are increasingly demanding individual recognition. Companies are increasingly requiring diversity in the workplace for all of the right reasons. So being amongst that community of employees is really, really important. But equally, so are practical things such as being paid on time and being able to bid for a shift or accept a roster in a mobile way, in an agile way, using your smartphone or using your laptop, not being required to physically be part of a process. Now, obviously, that doesn't apply to all industries. Some industries are based on physical turning up. You can't run a bar without being in the bar. You can't run a hospital without being in the hospital and serving your patients. But as much as can be done virtually and by mobile means, then that's what should happen. And employees shouldn't lose anything from that experience. They should be just as enabled in a virtual way as they would be in a physical way. So I think being attractive by being a provider of contemporary solutions is really, really critical to attracting talent and retaining.
Thanks for that, Stephen. And how do you think AI is impacting HR software?
Yeah, so artificial intelligence, machine learning, and having the right, if you like, predictive analytics at the core of your solution is critical. We operate in too real-time a way to be reactive. Good organisations in any industry are the ones that see the trends, can predict market movements, can predict consumer movements, and frankly can influence those movements by being ahead of the curve. So too in human capital management. We need to predict the sort of trends that I was articulating earlier: diversity, millennial needs and wants. They're things that can be anticipated with the right sort of artificial intelligence and machine learning built into the algorithms of your software. So seasonality is a good example of that. It's very important, particularly in retail and hospitality. These are industries that operate at pretty skinny margins, that they right size their workforce, that they have enough people at the right time in the right place. So seasonal shifts around Christmas time, for instance, for retailers is really important. We have a customer, a retail customer that has a 70 times, so a 7,000% times increase in staffing numbers in a 6-week period over Christmas, leading up to Christmas, the Christmas shopping period. They onboarded that peak employee count in the same time that they physically brought 2 new staff on 2 years ago. So they brought 7,000 staff on, onboarded 7,000 casual staff in the time that it took to onboard 2 staff only 2 years ago. And they were able to do that, A, because they had the software at their disposal, but they were able to predict the kind of profile of staff that they would need. They were able to put that out on job boards early. They were able to offer those staff based on some predetermined selection criteria, those jobs, and have the offer and acceptance occur real time. And have those staff available for work in a very short period of time. And that's what I mean by being attractive to the employee, because while other organisations are still dithering around doing it in a manual and reactive way, the good employees are already ahead of the curve and making those decisions. And so it will be at greater and greater scale in the future.
And how important is it to stay up to date with technology, given how fast the trends are moving and the HR industry is evolving?
Yeah, it's critical. We get asked a lot about what's your mobile strategy, and our chairman and CEO, David Ossip, says, look, it's the wrong question. If you're not mobile, you're not mobile. You can't provide the solution that not just your employees, but employers need as well. We see the world in the not too distant future where our ability to enable employers to attract the right staff being a major determinant of whether that employee joins that organisation. What I mean is, if you're a barista making coffee, you may not work for the same employer over 7 days. You may work for 2 or 3 different employers. But imagine if you could take your digital identity with you from employer to employer and have your wages consolidated under a number of different awards, paid daily as you earn it, with all the appropriate disbursements that are made, tax and superannuation, and say to your employer, do you have the Ceridian Dayforce wallet? Because if you don't, I'm going to go work for someone that does. And so the availability of real-time tech becomes a really major determinant for that highly mobile, highly sought after, highly volatile employee base. And that's essentially the future that we're designing our innovative software to meet.
And how do you think hybrid working is affecting HR software and the important function it plays for businesses?
Yeah, great question, and one that I'm quite passionate about. I've written on this a number of times in the last 6 months. It's the so-called hybrid workplace, or the borderless workplace, or the fluid workplace. They're all kind of similar ways of describing the same movement, which is we were once paid to attend work, whether that was an office or a building site or a bar. You know, we were paid for our attendance. We weren't paid for our outputs. We weren't valued for our outputs. So what this shift has done is really concentrated the thinking on what is it that we're asking people to do. When we pay them, we're paying for their time to do something. Maybe we should think differently about that. Maybe we should pay on the value that that individual brings rather than just the time that they spend with us. So I see that this shift, which is an irrevocable shift, we're not going back to the old way of working. That time has gone. This shift really informing future employment choices. And I would see that the organisations that can adapt to that shift, not just enabled by technology, but enabled by the culture that underpins that organisation, the decisions that the organisation makes, that then get enshrined through the technology and enabled through the technology, they'll be the employers of choice in the future. And a little bit like the top 100 companies at the turn of the 20th century, when none of them were on the top 100 company list at the turn of the 21st century, because technology and innovation and advancement and science had just moved on. So too will it be in another 50 years. The time horizon will shrink. It won't take another 100 years. It'll take 50 and then 25 and then 20. So I would say that the value of an organisation to employees and the value of an organisation to its shareholders will be largely determined by how it reacts to that shift in workforce dynamics in the future.
Thank you for joining me, Stephen, and congratulations again on Ceridian's 5-star HR award. Thank you to everyone who's been watching. This is HRD TV.